How do you assess the Congress's countering of this entire Modi wave? We do know, in terms of social economic indicators, for instance, there hasn't been as much progress as it's been glorified to be. Why has there not been a more specific and strategic, just fact sharing on what the reality is of that state?
First, let me modify your question to say I'm not sure there is a Modi wave. Uh, yes, but there is certainly a resurgence in support for the BJP, which may be taking them in the direction of their best performance in the past, or possibly just past it. I don't describe that as a Modi wave for the very good reason that we have to remember where they're starting. Don't start at 272 where they would cross the mark, the halfway mark. Start at 116 where they are today and ask yourself how many seats are they going to add in which state. And then you'll come up to the most obvious feature of this election, which is that the BJP is very far behind in Uttar Pradesh. It's at position 4 as to go by the assembly elections of just last year. They were behind the Congress. So now they have to overtake not just the Samajwadi Party or Mayawati, they even have to overtake the Congress to get to any kind of respectability in UP. And in Bihar, they have never been tested. They got to where they got because of their alliance with the JDU. And the JDU got formed at a time, or rather came into some kind of prominence at a time when Lalu's stock was definitely going down. So you had a situation in which they did pretty well, but in an election in which the overall trend was anti-Lalu rather than pro-BJP. So the BJP propagandists can say what they like. In fact, I was very amused to read a headline that Arun Jaitley had said that if Goebbels were here, he'd be a member of the Aam Aadmi Party. And my response is only by being a defector from the BJP. Because their party is full of Goebbelses who talk utter nonsense about their future prospects, and all of whom are gloating at the prospects of themselves becoming ministers. And I'm looking forward with great keenness to the 16th of May of this year, when we'll ultimately be able to throw mud on all their faces. So I don't buy this concept of a Modi wave. But what is true is that opposition to Modi in Gujarat by the Congress party has been extremely deficient from the year 2002 or possibly even earlier. Why? It's because casting around after Chivanbhai Patel, a man of many virtues and alas several vices, we were not able to find a leader there other than Shankar Aiyar, whose background was that of being a comrade in arms of Narendra Modi, and therefore there was, I think, an ineffective response to them in 2002, and a decision as the campaign went along that people who were secular fundamentalists like myself should be kept out of the campaign. And Muslim leaders from the Congress party, I know at least one who was asked 6 times on his way to the airport to perhaps postpone his departure. So somehow that communal wave that was unleashed by Modi also lapped at the shores of the local Congress party. And ever since then, they have been very circumspect about attacking Modi personally. But the Gujarat story, as projected by the Goebbelses, is a Modi story. So if you won't attack Modi, and you won't attack Modi's ideas, and you won't attack Modi's models and Modi's eccentricities and Modi's authoritarianism and Modi's arbitrary ways of running a government and Modi's depriving very poor people of their assets in order to benefit the Adanis of the world. It's not only Adani. L&T has hugely benefited. Tata has hugely benefited. So if you don't take him on as your enemy number one, then naturally you're allowing him political space. What Kejriwal has done in the last 2 or 3 days, I highly approve of. Because for him to list out by name villages that haven't received electricity, to expose the Goebbelsian lie that every village has 24 hours electricity, to show that several benefits have not reached the people, although the claim is that it's such a well administered state, and to pretend that development consists of making Tata richer instead of making people have a better life. I think all this has been very effectively exposed by Arvind Kejriwal, and I commend him for it.
An aside that you'd made about your chai wala comment has given rise to this
I
chai
never
pe
used that word.
charcha. So could you
No,
please
no,
tell
I
us what
never,
happened?
I have to insist in this. I never used that word. And I never referred to it in a derogatory manner. Who is the one who has brought into the political discourse at almost every occasion that he can say so, that he was distributing tea or serving tea at some distant point in his life? It's Mr. Modi, who is attempting to prove his credentials as an Aam Aadmi by claiming that his origins are that of an Aam Aadmi, and counters every criticism of his close nexus with very, very khas Aadmi by saying that I am a humble man of humble origin. What I said was, the man has proved his total incapacity to be the Prime Minister of India by not knowing that Alexander never went to Patliputra, by not knowing that Takshila is in Pakistan and Nalanda is in India, by not knowing that the transaction tax he talks about is Caldor's discredited idea of an expenditure tax which goes back 70 years or so, by showing no understanding of the constitution when he wants to convert what is a race for each constituency into a presidential challenge on his part to the Congress party. So I said, a man who knows no history, knows no economics, knows no law, knows no constitution, and is responsible for the kind of outrages that took place in Gujarat in 2002, that he doesn't deserve to be the Prime Minister, that he is not worthy of being the Prime Minister. But I said, referring to his own credentials, which he himself has created, that if he wants to serve tea, we'll give him a stall here.
When you say that there is this lack of courage on, or there is a lack of conviction in taking on Modi as enemy number one on part of the Congress,
I didn't say that. I said in Gujarat, there has been a tendency on the part of the GPCC, that's the Gujarat Pradesh Congress Committee.
No, but surely the central Congress leadership could have also sent some senior ministers now that elections are so close.
No, in the last election they sent me. They sent me. I went to Porbandar and I congratulated the people of Gujarat in the month of October, or was it September, on having Diwali twice this year, I said. Once will be in October when you burn Ravana, and the next time is when the election comes and you can get rid of the second Ravana. But I don't think the remark was appreciated by the GPCC, who felt that by skirting the name and personality of Modi and concentrating on on exposing the falseness of some of his development projects, but not emphasizing the point that was made earlier that we should have concentrated on his poor human development record. We have allowed the cup to slip from our lip, but the BJP is concentrated in 4 states of India: Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. These are contiguous states. But the country has 29 states. Where is the BJP in 25 of them? And don't forget, in the democratic system, every time you get 1 vote more then the chap you're defeating, the runner-up, the vote cannot be converted into seats. So if you get 70% votes, it doesn't move into more than one seat in that constituency. And you can't transfer votes from one constituency to another. And therefore, if you have a concentration of support in 4 states, instead of, like the Congress, a dispersal of support over 29 states, you suffer a lot of your votes not translating into seats.
But as you said earlier, their focus seems to be on Uttar Pradesh to increase their tally from 10 to they're hoping over 50.
That's for mathematical reasons.
And because they put Amit Shah in charge, so the kind of campaign that they're running also seems to be quite reflecting.
And therefore, I don't see them getting any support in either Western Uttar Pradesh or Eastern Uttar Pradesh, where there are large minority communities, or many pockets of Central Uttar Pradesh. Also, I think the emergence of the Aam Aadmi Party, which played the role of Horatio. Now, maybe some of your viewers wouldn't know what Horatio did, but when Rome was attacked by the barbarians, there was only one bridge over the river Tiber, and they were to pour in across this bridge and get into the citadel of Rome. So Horatio and 2 of his friends stood 3 abreast on that bridge and repeatedly fended off the barbarian attackers. And this is there in Macaulay's famous poem on the lays of ancient Rome. So I described Kejriwal as Horatio standing on the Jamna, stopping these barbarian BJP wallahs from capturing the citadel of India, that is Delhi. Now, at that time, it looked as if he was going to be able to make a mark in a radius at least around Delhi. But while there's some signs of a presence in Haryana, there doesn't seem to be any in Uttar Pradesh. That surprises me. But I would imagine that since the man lives in Ghaziabad, maybe he can influence a few votes there.
So one of the signs is that Rajnath Singh has shifted his seat from Ghaziabad to Lucknow, which is a clear sign that he wants to give up. I mean, he feels that Ghaziabad is no longer a safe seat.
तेरे मुंह में घी शक्कर. What virtues does that man have? Name one. I'll change the interview now. You answer my question. Name one virtue that Amit Shah has. He is a manipulator. He has a filthy reputation. His role as Home Minister is under a cloud. And in these circumstances, if he wishes to use in Uttar Pradesh the methods that he has perfected in Gujarat, well, I think the people of Uttar Pradesh are wise enough to know that he is not their man. Ogden Nash writes, I give you now Professor Twist, a conscientious scientist. Trustees exclaimed he never bungles and sent him off to distant jungles. Camped on a tropical riverside, one day he missed his loving bride. She had, he was informed, she had, the guide informed him later, been eaten by an alligator. Professor Twist could not but smile. You mean, he said, a crocodile. So that's the verse. I think this fellow Advani is a kind of Professor Twist, and he miscalculated. And that is why today item number 1 on the Hindutva agenda is not item number 1 or even item number 2000 on any BJP agenda. They know that whatever roused the emotions of the Hindus in 1990 turned to disgust and reaction over the next several years. Kejriwal's attack on the connections of big corporate houses like the Ambanis and the Adanis is to politics altogether. I mean, therefore, automatically included in his ambit is anyone who has run a government, and automatically excluded from his ambit is parties that have never run a government like his own. His attack is therefore, when it comes to Ambani or Adani, certainly on Ambani, it's much more on the Congress than on Modi. And on Adani, it is much more on Modi than it is on the Congress. I am glad he has raised these issues because I do believe that the influence of corporates on governance is something that needs to be understood, appreciated, studied and regulated. Very, very important. Because in all democracies in history, the corporate sector has always played a nefarious role, particularly at approximately the stage of industrial development that India is today going through. Because it's only at this stage that some corporates become gigantic. The IT sector in India is becoming increasingly political, and the kind of letters that Aziz Premji and Mr. Narayan Murthy dash off to the Prime Minister, the role of the CII, all these are warning signals to us that if our democracy becomes a puppet of these forces, then we could go the Hitler way.
Speaking of Advani and of the Banaras seat in particular, it's clear that there is a lot of infighting and there is a lot of jostling within the BJP because there is no clear leadership. Even though Modi has been announced as the prime ministerial candidate, there is no clear leadership. Everybody harbors their own ambitions. Do you see the fact that the Congress has a clear leadership in terms of the Gandhi family? Do you see that as an advantage that at least you don't have to deal with?
It's a huge asset. It's the, it's the most priceless asset the Congress has, that there is no dispute about the leadership. The leadership itself may decide to outsource the prime ministership as Sonia Gandhi did, but the leadership is settled. And this is certainly not true of any other political party, except very, very small personality-based ones. And in these circumstances, you know, Shakespeare writes of the base Indian who threw away the pearl. So all these BJP types, they want us to behave like Shakespeare's base Indian and throw away our pearl. We are not about to discard the Gandhi family. What I'm absolutely certain of is that whatever the policies of the Congress and whatever the deficiencies of those policies, the best spokesman of the Congress cause, because it is a single voice, is that of Rahul Gandhi's. Curiously enough, the charge of dynastic politics, which is I think a completely unfounded charge against the Congress party, is actually a charge against party stability, which is what stands in the way of their coming to power. Just as secularism is given the term vote bank, so also is party stability given the name of dynastic politics. I don't know what's going to happen. I see that there's some diminishing of Congress support. I see that there's some increase in BJP support. But where I see the big surge is in the support that is being received by state parties and by some of these curious regionals, the left who have a presence in only 3 states, and the Aam Aadmi Party, which clearly has a presence in Delhi. I don't know whether the elections will prove that it radiates elsewhere too. So this lot, this combined vote of everybody else could be the largest number of seats.